Hello, my name is Richard Johnson. I'm the founder and CEO of Texture Capital. We're a FINRA member and SEC registered broker-dealer, helping companies and investors participate more efficiently in private markets. We provide tools for issuance, tokenization, and secondary market liquidity. Welcome to this investor webinar, where we will be presenting our latest investment opportunity, BEASY, aka blockchain named Easy. BEASY is a blockchain as a service technology company focused on developing blockchain solutions that enable a broad range of stakeholders, from consumer to enterprise, to participate in the blockchain economy. The first application of BEASY technology provides a turnkey business management platform to enable musicians, artists, and professional and college athletes to create, issue, and manage NFTs. I do want to point out that this presentation is being delivered in conjunction with a securities offering. And it's important to understand that private securities are speculative, and please consult your financial advisor before investing. So let's get right into it. And I will let BEASY CEO Bob Kramich and special guest Byron Booker introduce themselves.
It was founded by HP and Compaq and NEC and Hitachi. And for those of you who were around in those days or old enough to know those days, this is the .com era, and we were trying to build this frictionless e-commerce supply chain exchange, and we failed miserably, but I'll come back to that because I carry a lot of those tenets with me today. The last 20 years of my career have been in custom software engineering. So when I left the semiconductor business at the fall of the .com days, I got into custom product engineering and a few different firms. So one was, I was the president of a Francisco Partners portfolio company, where we were doing software engineering from China, delivering to US customers. The second one was helped exit to EPAM Systems. I was the chief strategy officer of that software engineering firm. So they exited to a publicly traded company. And then the last firm I was with was software engineering services firm. Again, but we were out of Chennai, India. And so I left that company 3 years in and founded BEASY when I discovered blockchain. So my specialization is really, and my passion has been really helping customers at the intersection of emerging technologies and cloud. So AI, machine learning, blockchain, and so the philosophy that I had in these businesses was always demonstrations over assertions, show me, don't tell me. And that's what's enabled us to have the success we're having right now. But so my background again is custom software engineering, along with trading and market making. But my passion is really helping customers. So for me, it's about satisfying customers, and the passion we delivered to the business here really helps them understand blockchain and figure out how to use it without having to know blockchain. So anyways, is that fine, Richard?
Yeah, that's great. I think it really goes to speak to kind of how you named the company. The company's called BEASY, but not a lot of people know that stands for Blockchain Made Easy, and that's what you're trying to do. Our other guest on this webinar is Byron Booker, who's got a very different background to the sorts of finance people I typically hang out with. So it's great to have some kind of have this additional input into the NFT space. Give us a little bit of an introduction on your background, Byron.
All right. So again, my name is Byron Booker. I am founder of the Recording Artists Guild, association of 20,000 independent and mainstream artists. And my focus over the last 20 plus years has primarily been in the content and distribution space. And of course, technology is always an integral part of content as it evolves from, as we know, from LPs to CDs, to downloads and to streaming. And blockchain has obviously been a major disruptor in the content space, whether it be for on the music side or just video. And so primarily, I've got an opportunity to work with some of the biggest talent in the world, with the Rihannas of the world and Diddy's and Flo Riders and Brandy's and Snoop Dogg's, and as an executive producer, writer, and producer of albums and films. And I got into live streaming in 2012 and have really got an opportunity to work with some of the new media influencers on YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, as we know, all of the above of social. And what we've really focused on with blockchain is bringing the technology to the music community, and a lot of the talent that we work with to onboard their content, to make their content more easy to track, easy to monetize, and just really have a lot of fun in the NFT space. And as everything's evolving in blockchain, the connection with BEASY has made it much easier, and it's something that is palatable for the novice on the tech side, that really just focuses on the content. And as we know, content is king and driving new technology. And so we're very excited to work with BEASY and be on the forefront of all this innovation.
Awesome. Looking forward to digging into this. I think a lot of people on this webinar already know me and Texture Capital. Just a quick recap: we're a FINRA broker-dealer. We help companies raise capital using blockchain technology, and we have what's called an ATS, an alternative trading system, for investors to trade these securities in the secondary market. Our mission is to really improve the market structure of private capital markets using blockchain technology. Hopefully everyone saw that we recently announced that BEASY is the next company that's going to be raising capital on our platform. So it's available for investment now. You can go to our website, texture.capital/invest. Slight error in that URL there. I'll fix that. You can register on our website there, and there's some more information about this offering, and we're happy to kind of schedule any follow-up calls as well. Before we get into it, Bob, can you just give us a quick, you're at the forefront of technology. Tell us what made you decide to choose to do a security token offering for your seed round?
Obviously, Richard, you and your team, I feel impressive people, but blockchain is very consistent with security token offerings, and it's sort of it's symbiotic, so to speak. So you understand the language I speak. I think I understand part of the language you speak, not all of it, but you get it. So I like your platform's great.
Yeah, we're learning from each other here, and I think there's down the road, and maybe even now, there's going to be tie-ins between the security token and other aspects of your business or other companies' business, and potentially even NFTs. I look forward to that. So I'm going to hand it over to you now. I've got a couple of slides to kind of introduce BEASY, and then we'll kind of get into a conversation.
Sure. So you're going to share the slides, right?
Yep, they should be shared.
So are they going to come up on the screen? Oh, switch to sharing content. Okay, so I got it. Perfect.
Yeah, so let me know when you want to change.
Okay, so again, blockchain is a complicated architecture of a bunch of actually old technology, like cryptography, encryption, secure messaging, database management, some code. It needs to be assembled to solve the business problem. That's where people get tripped up a lot. And in my role as the head of these services firms, when blockchain started to emerge, if you understand blockchain, it's sort of a blend between a business solution and a technology solution. And so I was being asked by my customers, C-level executives, CFOs and such, I want to understand blockchain. Can your teams help educate me and help me enable me with blockchain? And as a person who, quite frankly, my passion comes from my ability to satisfy my customers and solve problems for them. I started to dig in on blockchain myself as the president of the firms, and start to host meetings, because my technologists were focused on the code that was being sold today, emerging technologies that were being used, not blockchain. And they didn't have time to understand it. So I dug in. And then when I realized what it was, that's when I quit my job. But the bottom line is blockchain is a general purpose technology, just like the internet, just like electricity, just like the steam engine. If we can figure out how to make it plug and play, we can unlock its benefits for every human being. So there's a lot of asymmetry in the space, I'll say. You hear a lot of crazy names, and there's the architecture is complicated. There's wallets, there's APIs, there's smart contracts.
Yeah.
And so we've taken an enterprise approach to making this simple and reducing this asymmetry in the space, because it really is nonsense. I'm telling you, all these crazy names don't matter. What matters is, what are you trying to do and what's your business problem? Okay, and then you pick the funny name. And so for us, our three core differentiators are: one, we've built an extremely comprehensive technology stack for blockchain over the past 3 years. And yet it's very easy to use. We have a product, customers are onboarded to it. Byron's on it now, and it's easy to use. Secondly, it's plug and play. It's tech agnostic. And so again, blockchain is a general purpose technology. Its two main components in the sense that we're talking about here are the identities of the participants and the attributes that they're going to agree to, their contract terms, okay? Where is that stuff today for most companies? It's sitting in Salesforce CRM platforms. It's sitting in Microsoft Azure. I realized years ago, our first product makes Salesforce data easy to use on any blockchain network. But our first product was, we have to make this plug and play. It has to be able to work where people keep their stuff today. You know, when electricity was emerging, people didn't build new homes to run electricity to. They figured out how to get it into their house. And that's sort of why I said it had to get here. We have to productize this. And last but not least, it's an enabling technology. It's our technology. We've built this to be private labelable, multi-tenant, and Byron is a perfect example of this use case, where he'll explain what he's doing and how he's using our rails on top of his brand. Is that fair? Is that good, Richard? Okay, next.
Yeah, excellent. I think that's a good overview. And I got a slide up here on the market opportunity. Let's kind of dig into some of these numbers. I mean, one that stands out is kind of the sudden explosion of NFTs that's happened, in 2021. And I think, whilst on the one hand, your timing, I think a lot of people have said your timing's perfect, Bob, but in reality, you've been at this for 2.5 years, building this solution, which is now going to market, because I think you had the vision to see the way the space was going.
We're lucky.
Yeah, that's always good too, right? So there's, this is the second quarter numbers. The third quarter numbers for NFT sales were even greater than that. Than the 2.5 billion. I'll follow up with the more recent information on that. Tremendous growth in that market, but you're also looking at, if you look on the right-hand side here, the growth of licensing. What are you seeing in that space, and how is that tied together with NFTs?
Tremendous opportunities, right? In terms of licensing go back to those two ingredients, identities and attributes. Licensing relates to contracts, right? Terms that people, how they use your IP, what they do with your image, what they do with your likeness. And so managing those terms in a way that can be, if you do agree with someone on a licensing deal, so that they can be verified on a network, on a computer network, is the secret sauce. Really managing the smart contracts, managing the ties and the integration of those smart contracts to their original signed document and digitally twinning them, and then making sure there's a linear heritage to the licensing rights and agreement so that it can be maintained between those permission participants. It's really important. And in terms of the market itself, I mean, Byron will tell you what he's doing, some unbelievable use cases. In sports, I'm sure everyone probably understands something about what's going on with college sports and NIL in this recent movement. The kids are going to be able to make money off their image and likeness.
What is NIL, in case people haven't heard about it?
Yeah, name, image, and likeness it stands for. And so the whole university ecosystem in the US right now is hit with 2 3-letter acronyms that are driving them crazy. One is NIL, and the other is NFT. Yeah. And I won't get into, the Supreme Court recently ruled that the NCAA was in violation of antitrust, and they can't prohibit these kids from making money on their identities. And so the state, it's been punted to the other 2 participants in that ecosystem, the states and the schools, and the states are punting to the schools. And so there's lots of opportunity right now for our platform, which is really an NFT management platform. It is not a marketplace like OpenSea or Wearables. It's a solution that the schools and the players can use themselves to create NFTs. And you'll see some of the features in a later slide. But also blockchain is really simple. It's very basic. All blockchain networks do is maintain the true state of data between permission participants.
So
and that's it.
We're touching on the NIL stuff, which is obviously sports related. And I want to get into Byron, who's got some great music use cases to talk about. But before we go there, you did an announcement last week with Jason Woolard from Tykes. And unfortunately, he was supposed to be in this webinar. He's not here. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, very exciting, very exciting. And again, identities and attributes, right? So Jason Woolard creates identities. He's been doing it since 2014. He sells them to colleges and they are used in recruiting of players. He's in over 22 Division I schools. And so now the reason he can't be here today and he sends his apologies, he's meeting with USC as they grapple with those two, three-letter acronyms. So right, when you think about Tykes, what we announced with Tykes very simply is they are going to use BEASY authentication in the same manner that Byron is underneath their Tykeland marketplace to NFT enable and blockchain enable that marketplace. And they can create limited designs of these Tykes. You'll see they're doing some incredible things in that space for these colleges. And then also we are going to use those Tykes avatars in our solution to colleges so that the avatar will be the first NFT that the student and the school agree to maintain the true state of between each other. And it's an elegant way for them to get started in a consistent, uniform way, in a way they're already buying today, these schools. But Richard, I'll pause there.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And congratulations on that deal. I want to move on to Byron, but real quick before I did that, I forgot to say at the beginning, I was so excited to get started here. I forgot to tell the participants that they can, if you want to ask questions at any point, just put it in the chat tool, or you can wait till the end to throw some questions in. We'd love to hear from you. We want to make this as interactive as possible. So Byron, thanks so much for joining us. I got to, why don't you tell us a bit about, what you do at the Recording Artists Guild and Luku and how you see this moving forward?
Absolutely. So again, having started in music as a creative and then a producer, label owner, publisher, live stream producer, we're always looking for the new monetization, and obviously NFT is the new holy grail of monetization for content creators, specifically for music. The use case is tailor-made, and I'll give you an example. As it applies to athletes and organizations like the NBA, or many different use cases, none could use blockchain more than the music industry. There's so many moving parts. And essentially, if you're an indie artist, you've got to maintain your license agreements, you've got to maintain your copyrights, you've got to stay on top of your royalty collections with performance rights organizations. You've then got to pay out if you're a label owner, essentially is what you are. You're a business, music business entrepreneur if you're an indie label. And just so you guys know, there's about 60,000 new tracks uploaded to Spotify every single day by indie artists and major artists.
Wow.
And it comes with a lot of management along with that. So what we're doing is we are onboarding specifically a community of over 20,000 independent recording artists, as well as working with major artists like some of the ones that I mentioned earlier today. And the way that we do that is we start with the basic contract or IP, which is the song. The owners of that song is basically documented on what they call a split sheet, which is the publishers, the writers who write the music, the melody, the lyric, the chorus, the bridge, yada, yada, yada. They then register that with a PRO, which is OSCAP, BMI, or CSAC here in the US and different organizations around the world. They upload that to some platform, whether it's Spotify or Deezer or Pandora, and they monetize that way. They monetize with performances, radio, commercials, and then they receive that money from the publishers, and then they got to pay that out to the different parties. So what we do is we register that in our database. We take that information and we upload it to our marketplace, which is called Talent. And that is, again, governed by or managed by the BEASY platform. Makes it very easy to upload the split sheet, any license agreements that might be attached to that song, any agreements at all. And then we're able to sell those assets, whether it's the song, whether it's a video, artwork, logos, authenticated signature, autograph, merchandise. And then what we really focus on is delivering to the end user, the customer, what they want most. And generally, that's a live performance. With the disruption of COVID, as we all know, there's been an explosion of online, on-demand events, whether it be from sporting events, music events. So what we do is we actually put a virtual concert ticket as part of the NFT, which they can redeem and then use on Lookhoo, which is the partner as well. Lookhoo I started in 2014. It's a multi-channel platform driven basically by influencers to make money on a la carte pay-per-view events, one-off events, again, on-demand assets are there. They can get tips, a variety of ways they can monetize. And that's an ecosystem that we've built, and we've been able to, again, make this process very easy for creators with the BEASY platform.
So I think, we've certainly heard about some well-known artists such as Kings of Leon. They released their album that was as an NFT, and I think you've got the album, you've got preferred seats to their concerts. BT is doing something very interesting as well. These are obviously like very well-established artists with a lot of resources. Do you think that what you'll be able to do here is kind of, you have 20,000 artists at the Recording Artists Guild? Are you going to try and productize it so you can help them get out there? Is that part of the mission here?
Absolutely. What's happening now is you've got large institutions like the NBA that are helping all of their talent monetize because they've got a lot of infrastructure. They've got a back office administration that's taking these assets, that put them on the blockchain, that's packaging them and making them available to the market. Now, on the music side, you have major labels doing the same for the Kings and Leons of the world, the Tory Lanes and yada, yada, yada. So what we're doing is essentially being that admin for them and bringing them very easy technology for them to onboard their assets, to track it, to put it in the marketplace and sell it. So we've actually started with the tech. And now that we've got the tech right, and I've been down this path like Bob for many, many years in the blockchain space, preparing for this day to happen. And as you guys know, this is explosive, and we're just touching the tip of the iceberg with what we've seen so far. But I don't know of any other organization, Richard, that's really focused on doing this for the independent music community that has an established database of musicians of over a decade and credibility of working with some of the biggest artists on the planet and really champion this cause. So we're very excited, and we feel like we can be a part of really what's going to be the mainstay for music for the next millennium. Now, technology is constantly evolving, but I think what blockchain offers is just going to be an evolution within that space for many, many years to come. So getting involved now is it's like getting involved with the internet, in early days of the early millennium. So yeah, that's what we're doing to kind of scale this process for the indie community, which is massive. And those are going to be the new Biebers, the new Rihannas, and we're working with many of them. And we're also working with the Biebers and the Rihannas of the world too. So that helps.
That's great. Let's turn back to Bob now. Tell us a bit more about kind of the nuts and bolts here. What is your solution offer?
Okay, in terms of you mentioned that we've been working. Someone said to me, Richard, to elaborate on your point, was, Bob, NFTs have only been around for 3 or 4 months. How did you do all this? I said, well, I'm working on it for 3 years now, and so it's been a long journey, but we're proud to show what we have now at the right time. And so when you think about what you can do with blockchain, it's much more than NFTs. So the first version of our product that is ready now allows you to do things like, immutably record your trademark, your TB12 as a young person, right, on the network, and have proof of use to that in court, right? And so, when I started the company, they said, mail myself your BEASY logo and don't open it. So that if something happens 3 years from now, the judge would be able to see the envelope and open the envelope and see the logo that you had for someone, proof of use, right? So proof of use is a benefit of blockchain. We enable that right out of the box, and also things like digital autographs. You heard about Beeple, right? In the painting, $69 million. He drew and designed he designed the illustrations every day for 15 years. Well, that's a rich NFT with a lot of, you can spend a lot of time on that. You can drill into that. Well, imagine being able to get every Tom Brady autograph since he joined University of Michigan, right? And being able to buy his entire repertoire of autographs that he's signed in his entire life. And then be able to drill into those autographs, see who did he sign in November 2014? Where was he? Well, you can do these things and you can create these kind of things using our platform. Then the next thing is smarten your contracts. We talked about smart contracts. This is a core differentiation of ours, right? So I do bring sort of this enterprise mentality to this ISO 9000 continuous improvement mentality, which is, I want to make sure that if you have a contract that you've signed and you're using software, a smart contract to verify adherence to those terms on a network, you should have a linear heritage to all those things. You should be able to organize all those contracts, sort them, manage them, and innovate them, change them, update them. That's a core feature of ours. Creating your NFTs and selling your NFTs is easy, but our differentiation is we allow you to mint your own NFTs from your own computer and sell them anywhere you want. Your own website. We are Shopify enabled. Again, our philosophy is plug and play. We've built this thing to, you don't need to know blockchain. Just tell us how you work today and we can figure it out for you and plug it in. And then you can perpetually track your NFTs across any marketplace, both primary and secondary sales. Manage your partners is another major piece of this.
When you say any marketplace, can you integrate with, say, OpenSea or one of these other places?
Yeah. So absolutely, and we integrate with all the marketplaces. We propagate to more than 80 different blockchain protocols today in our API. Our wallet is been designed to enable. We have features built in every layer of our solution. And we file provisional patent on systems and methods for multi-protocol blockchain interoperability, which is our core. And so at the end of the day, if that answers your question, Richard, we're doing a lot more than just NFTs, and it's a continuous learning application that kids can use and pros to take control of their IP. Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your business model then, Bob. How does that work?
In which sense, Richard? Pricing, or what are you thinking about? Okay, so I'll say this. This is something I do want to get out. Right?
Don't give any, you just give an overview of how it works. Well, we'll get the orders later.
The reason I'm excited about this is, while a lot of people have a ton of money right now in this space and a lot of great people around them, they don't have products. They don't have a product that does what our solution does. And so for us, I believe that technology is meaningless. Technology is table stakes to get in the game. It's what can you do with it, right? It's the market liquidity. So going back to my first decade in work, that $100 million exchange that we burned to the ground. Well, the bottom line is I knew from running a marketplace that you need liquidity, buyers and sellers. That's all that matters. Supply. Actually, I was showing Byron this yesterday, but I took out an ad in the Wall Street Journal in 97 or 98 during the dot-com days. I paid $1 million for this full page ad in the Wall Street Journal. Supply meet demand, right? So I have an innate understanding that if we roll up the supply, like Byron's songs, like Byron's content, like Byron's musicians, athletes, colleges, athletes want to work with musicians. That's it. And so we are focused on creating network effects and liquidity using our tools at the intersections of music, sports, and entertainment. And that's what I think the real secret sauce is. And we're doing it now. Our product's out. We can get going. A lot of people are announcing things next year. And so guys like Byron have checked it out. They've seen it. And Byron had tried to architect all this stuff himself. And he realized, this is a lot of there's a lot of components in this, a lot of moving parts. And so I was able to work with him so he can pick and choose what he wants to use of our platform to shore up what he doesn't have and move forward. So
that's great. I got a kind of an audience questions coming in now. What do you, this is one I think is for Byron. What do you see as the future of NFTs in the music industry? I think you're muted there.
One of the main things you're going to see, and you're already seeing it, they don't necessarily know what it is, but what they call is the album bundle. Okay, the album's going to make a comeback. And the NFT, non-fungible tokens, actually gives the creators an opportunity to create scarcity in a digital world. And how they do that is simply utilizing the blockchain to designate a specific ownership of an individual song or an asset, a digital asset. So now, instead of people just ripping the internet and download it like they did in Napster days, which led us to streaming, as the industry tried to figure out how to monetize content again or music again. Now with NFTs, people are going to buy virtual digital albums, and they're going to have a limited number of those with a limited number of signatures, artwork, concert tickets, all that cool stuff bundled within it. And that's going to be the new album bundle. So the trend's been in the last couple of years that the #1 albums are album bundles. Taylor Swift, DJ Khaled, Wiz Khalifa, goes on and on, of artists that have released album bundles. And what they've done up until now, Richard, is basically give you access to a Dropbox where you download an MP3, you download some artwork, you get to choose from a variety of merchandise. You know, like I ordered the Taylor Swift album bundle just to see what one of the best songwriters, artists of our time is doing. And it simply was that. It was a folder, very crude. Go to her website, directly to her website, download it, and you can play the MP3s on your computer or your phone. And I got a Taylor Swift keychain. You pick that keychain and it comes in the mail. It took about 3 months, but eventually I got it. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to focus on album bundles, and we're going to be doing some big name artists. So we're going to create the whole process. We're going to create the digital assets, the cool artwork, the 3D graphics, all of the AR stuff that's happening. And then we're going to do some cool stuff on the merchandise play as well. As many of the audience members probably know, NFTs also apply to physical items, clothing, jewelry, yada, yada, yada. We're going to do that same thing. And again, we're going to champion this whole new album bundle. And I think that's going to be the main way that it's going to scale in the music industry.
Great. I got another question coming in here specifically about the offering, Bob. How many BEASY tokens are available for purchase? At what price, and what percentage is the company's equity does this total represent?
Can you answer that, Richard? Would you mind answering that?
Yeah, I can get that for you. So we're issuing 1.7 million digital securities at a price of $1.50, and that's a post-money valuation of 18 million. All that information is available on our website, texture.capital/invest. A few more minutes. If there's any other audience questions, please shoot them in. Just to kind of, I don't want to take up too much of people's lunch hour here, but what's next for BEASY going forward? Where do you see yourself, in a year's time after this raise, Bob?
Well, we have our core product is BEASY Authentication. It's industry agnostic. It's cloud agnostic. We can point it anywhere. We're starting in sports through a network we're building on top of it called AthleteChain. Okay. AthleteChain is we've signed a pro agency in hockey. We've signed a pro agency in basketball. We've signed Tykes, who's going to be on AthleteChain representing college players. They have signed up a ton of players already that want to be involved in this. So what we are going to do is take the product, and we're going to ensure product market fit at those 6 customers that we've signed, right? And we're going to do so at the intersection of players, athletes, and musicians and artists. And you think about these, we're going to start when we put a defendable revenue model together for this raise, and we had a lot of scenarios, but the scenario I like best says if I can win 300 athletes, okay, in 5 years, given how profitable blockchain, it's almost costless verification is, we should be generating $15 million of EBITDA. At a 12x multiple on a blockchain company, that's a $200 million valuation. We didn't think we could actually now go and blow through all college players and roll up not only, the football players and the basketball players, but men and women. So UNC is giving us a verbal with Tykes that they want to move forward with our solution and help these kids right, maintain the true state of their IP that's being sold with the school. And what I'm doing is Byron's giving me names. He's already given me a bunch of names of people that he's talked to, artists, musicians that want to work with those kids. Not 20,000. Byron said, here's 5, 10, right? These 5 or 10 want to work with the UNC players. So when we get there and we give them the tool that's going to allow them to mint their own NFTs with some NFTs that are out of the box, that they can just plug and play a ticket to a virtual event on Luku with your favorite artist, right? Where you sell, you're going to talk to your fans about your training routine. What do these kids have? But when these kids are in college, think about it, 98% of them don't go to the pros, right? So they miss an opportunity when they have the stage to partner with people. What we're doing is really market liquidity focused, building networks in pockets between musicians and artists and athletes and sponsors so that they can compete. And I would say, do you think the people who used electricity had an advantage of the people who said, no, I'm not going to touch that stuff because burn my house down? I'd say yes. And we have a long way to go. So that's what we're doing, Richard. We're really going to stay focused on customer fit.
Yeah, you gave a few hints there at some upcoming announcements. We haven't announced all of those yet, but there's definitely going to be more to come. So I think everyone needs to kind of stay tuned. I am going to wrap this up now. Thank you to our participants, Bob Kramich and Byron Booker, especially as a guest coming in. There is more information on our website, texture.capital. Please reach out to me or to Bob if you would like to schedule a follow-up meeting or a demo. I think a demo is very helpful. As we said, the product is ready to go. We'd love to tell you more about this and talk about all the things that we want to, all the places you want to take this. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you to our guests and thank you to our participants. Take care.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Byron. Thank you all.